Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this video. I wanted today to share with you kind of a retrospective of developing an idea. I've talked before about my process for developing ideas in sketchbooks, but I'm now at the point where I have an entire finished body of work which started in sketchbooks. And so this is kind of a look back at how I started and what the paintings became. This work, which is a series of paintings called Patternicity that some of you have seen, this work started in sketchbooks. And it started actually with an experimental book while I was taking a course with another artist. I constantly stay up to date, taking courses, trying new things. This one was excellent, and it was Karen Stamper's Free Up Your Sketchbook. First of all, I'm going to show you the sketchbooks, and then I'll show you the final series. So let me get my sketchbooks out and we'll look at those first. So I have 4 books here that relate to that series. So let me start with the first one. This is the one we did on the course. And actually I didn't follow the instructions, so the course takes you further than this. Karen begins her course with ink and black and white media basically, but ink. So this was all ink and collage, and I got really carried away with the ink and collage, and I liked what I was doing, and I didn't want to put paint over the top, which is what comes next. So I kind of went off on my own tack. So this was, I just kept my black and white book black and white. People made lovely coloured works, but I liked this too much, and I always feel like if there's something in it for me, I'll keep it until something's gone. And when there's no longer any inspiration in it for me, I might paint over this then and do something different. But so sewing patterns, ink, collage, various kinds of text. But what was starting to happen here was text was starting to come in, which is something new for my work. And these scribbly marks, I was really starting to make a lot of scribbly marks. I can see now looking back. So I stopped that one and I started another one so that I could paint without feeling like I was messing up what I'd done. And these books, some of the pages are very messy, but I'm not bothered about that because I'm not looking to make works of art in here. Again, text was coming in, but always in a way that's indecipherable. Scribbles, lots and lots of scribbles. This colour palette, which shifted slightly. Here I was using cerulean blue and phthalo turquoise, and I moved on when I made the paintings, dropped cerulean and just focused on phthalo turquoise. But I was beginning to bring some orange in, which did come in finally. Again, text and orange again. So there's certain things coming in here which did come into the paintings. I didn't feel particularly anything in this book was wildly successful until these. I really liked these open, these pages with space in, and that hasn't yet come into my paintings, but that's where I think I'll go next. So circles were here a lot in this one, and then I was really enjoying myself, so I just kept going. So this one came next. Lots and lots of circles in here. Pattern is starting to come in, and this was the big development that led to the series. Pattern and text. And so you can see pattern, these circles. This is collaged on paper. This large text, small text there, collage text, pattern, more and more pattern. Always circles at the moment. But then stripes came in. Stripes, structured pattern against loose marks, text. And this was, when I say it came in, it's because I was just playing and things were coming out. So now I'm really loving these stripes and I'm loving this text. So that's what's coming more and more in here. Here's some pattern. And people are going to ask, what's the sketchbook? Is the sea white? concertina sketchbook, and you're going to ask, how does it not stick? How do I stop it from sticking? I don't. It does stick. I just unpeel it when I want to open it. Text again, loose scribbles, they're still here. And so I was starting to get an idea of what this was going to be. I haven't even finished this book, and I think the next one I haven't finished as well. One more book, still with this colour palette. So you see, I'm really digging in deep. And often people say, how do I find a focus? You have to make yourself stay focused if you want to really explore something. So I was really stuck on this colour palette, but now I was finding greens in it because I was mixing orange with phthalo turquoise and bringing in just a touch of green. The pattern's still here, the text is still here, the loose paint application and scribbles is here, and everything's coming together for what the series is going to be. You can see how it sticks. Absolutely love this scribble. I know it's not for everyone, but I just love it. More of the green coming in here. You can see orange. So now my colour palette's set. I know what I'm interested in, and I didn't finish those last two sketchbooks simply because I was interested in getting going with doing some of this on panels. So I moved on to working on 12-inch wooden panels. And this was one of my first attempts. And at first I was really happy with this because it has text on it. It has some loose brush marks, but it's not enough. There's not enough interest. It's just a bit dull. So this was a second iteration of it. And I brought in some pattern and some text and some of the collage elements that I was enjoying. And I remember leaving it at the end of the day feeling good, and then I came back in and thought, it's just too timid. And so I began to work on a series of panels, which ended up being 16, and I just went between them, and I just kept being brave and bold and making paintings that didn't necessarily look good, but they were incorporating elements of what I had liked from the sketchbooks. So I'm never copying a sketchbook page. I'm just using the same things. I liked pattern and text against loose organic brush marks. I liked this limited palette, and so that's what I'm going to bring in. And these are early stages of various paintings from the series. This one, I think I even made a YouTube video at this stage about how I liked elements of it, but it wasn't working as a painting. And then this one came together. This one I call Bolt of Blue. And this one had the pattern that I liked, the scribbly marks, the loose brush strokes, the limited palette, but lots of subtle color shifts in there. It had everything that I had been wanting to get in the sketchbooks. And it was the clearest distillation of what I'd been wanting to do. And I did a little bit more work on this one at that point, but not very much, and managed to keep the essence of what I loved about it. And that set me off. Then the others began to come together. And as I finished the paintings, I realized what they were about, and I realized what I was doing. So this to me is a cacophony of voices and news and information, which is how it's felt. If you're in the middle of this pandemic following the news, that's how it's felt. Nobody knows what the answers are. You can't grasp onto anything. So none of this text actually makes sense, but it's all coming at you. And combined with that is these loose brush marks, which to me, they're full of energy and life. And I live in a place which is like that. I live in the middle of the countryside. Spring was just on its way as I was finishing these paintings. And so the energy and life that was all around me, the joy of that combined with what was happening. And in some of these paintings, it's also about patterns disrupted. So I have some of these stripes. I have different patterns in different paintings. So I have these stripes, and then in this one, I have some pattern along the top there. but then it's interrupted with loose scribbles and loose brush marks. And that was for me about the patterns of our lives, which were just completely tipped upside down. And all of a sudden, we had to make new ways of living. And it's kind of like we'd gone off the rails. We didn't have anything to keep us in place. So can you see how those initial ideas that were in my sketchbook have morphed into the finished paintings without me actually ever referring back to what's on the sketchbook? Too often people try to make something out of what's in a sketchbook, copy it over onto a painting. For me, that's never worked. What works is to develop ideas in the sketchbooks, and then the ideas are in my head and they just come out. And then to trust that they're coming for a reason and that it will make sense to me over time. So that's the Patternicity series, and that's how it developed. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see the paintings, they are not available for sale anymore as they're sold, but you can find them on my website at louisefletcherart.com. Just go to the shop section and there's a gallery of the images. So if you want to have a closer look, you can do that. If you'd like to learn how to make this kind of personal art, something that really means something to you, do make sure you're signed up for my free course starting June the 3rd. We can't wait to see you there. We're going to have tons of fun and spark lots and lots of ideas and hopefully lots of series of paintings. See you there. Take care. Bye-bye.